Welcome back. There he is, ladies and gentlemen, Eagles General Manager Howie Roseman. Howie, what's up, man?
What's up, guys? I don't do this very often, but what am I going to say? No to you two?
Yeah, you didn't really have a choice. I'm not going to lie. Shady, do you have a choice?
No, he didn't have a choice. I'm going to tell you this every day. Why you ain't come on the show? Why you ain't come on the show?
Hey, Howie, let's get to the first and foremost things. Like, how is it being at another Super Bowl? Take us through the sights and sounds, et cetera.
Yeah, I think we're kind of in the moment. You know, obviously we got a big challenge ahead. Shady knows how I feel about Coach Reid and what he's done for all of us and what a great coach he is. And obviously they got a Hall of Fame coach, Hall of Fame quarterback. So I think we're just, we're kind of in the moment. We understand the challenge ahead of us. And at the same time, we know we got to have our best week of preparation to play our best game against a great team. So
okay,
that's kind of where we're at.
That's cute and all, Howie, but I got to give you your flowers. I got to. We do on the show all the time. You literally are the most celebrated general manager across all of sports on this here show, which is probably why you're on this here show. You constructed a heck of a football team. Like, you constructed a phenomenal football team. Why so aggressive, and how did you do it?
Yeah, it's kind of how I roll. You know, I think that the biggest regrets I've had have been when we don't do things, we don't take chances, and we don't go in a direction. And obviously, we got to do it that makes sense. You know, we're not just trying to do things for the sake of making moves. But I think when we played last year in the playoffs and saw where those teams were that were competing for a championship and where we were, we knew we had a lot of work to do. And luckily for us, we had a bunch of picks. We had the ability to add some players because we had a quarterback on a rookie deal, and we went out and had some opportunities. And obviously, it's a players' league. You know, we're fortunate to have a great group of guys who are really committed to each other and have had an unbelievable year. And that put us in the opportunity we have now. And now, obviously, we got a big challenge ahead of us on Sunday.
Hey, Howie, it's Shady here. Hey, quick question.
He knew it was you.
I mean,
he knows your voice.
For the people.
You lead the Eagles in rushing.
For the people.
You don't have to introduce yourself.
He does this all the time with me. God dang.
I know,
Anyway, hey, Howie,
know.
when you guys drafted Jalen Hurts, Philadelphia fans weren't too happy about that. I remember getting calls from different people. What did you see in Jalen Hurts to make you go out there and get him in the second round?
Yeah, I think for us, you know, I don't know that any team in the National Football League has benefited more from having depth at the quarterback position than the Eagles since I've been there, you know, and you guys know that. You guys are part of teams that made playoff runs with backup quarterbacks. And so I think for us, when we watched Jalen and we saw him as a true freshman win SEC Player of the Year, compete for a national championship as a true freshman, we saw him have adversity, overcome it, go to Oklahoma, be a Heisman Trophy finalist. And it's hard to find quarterbacks who every year of their career you felt like were getting better. And so he got better freshman year, and then obviously to his senior year. And then from his senior year to the combine, he was throwing better. And I think the guy just has something inside of him, something unique inside of him as a leader, as a worker. And you combine that with physical tools and you have a shot. And from our perspective, we talk about, you know, not wanting to have regrets. Obviously, we had a situation prior where we liked a quarterback. We got cute. We missed out. And then we're in a situation that we had to kind of keep trying to find another one. And I think anytime you see a player that you really like, especially at the quarterback position, like, you go get them. And it wasn't comfortable for a long time. I mean, you guys know Philly. They let you hear it. They let you hear it. And I got it. You know, I understood the perspective. I also felt like, you know, you always got to do what you think is best for your team, even if it's, you know, in the moment, not the most popular thing. And I remember at first training camp, a couple of our vet receivers, and you could probably figure out who they were on that team, came up to me and they go, man, we thought you were crazy, but we kind of see it, you know, and it didn't take long to be around Jalen to see that he had the ability. He had the ability to be really good, and he had the work ethic and leadership to whatever level that he could get to. And I don't know that we've still seen it, you know, even coming off an MVP season, you know, he's going to reach it because he's going to do whatever it takes to do whatever it takes to do it.
That's right. Yep. That's incredibly well said. Howie, all right, let's talk about the season. Week 1, you're down 7-0 to the Detroit Lions. The offense, they go 9 and out. They get no points. You have to win that game. Jalen Hurts marches down the field. He has 82 of the team's 85 yards that drive. Then against the Dallas Cowboys, I believe it was week 6, the Cowboys had scored 14 unanswered. Jalen Hurts, with 4 minutes left, you have to have it. He goes down the field, a 75-yard touchdown drive. Then against the Colts, y'all just coming off your first loss. The season might unravel. A.J. Brown fumbles. The Colts are up by 6. Hurts goes down the field. He leads the team. Eagles win 17-16. What was the moment you knew Jalen Hurts was the franchise quarterback of the future? What was the moment you knew that's the man I'm going to pay?
Well, I'm glad I didn't listen to you the week that we lost to Washington and you talking about the season unraveling, because I think we're 8-1 and I certainly wasn't feeling that right there. But, I think in terms of when we knew the team had a chance to be really good, was that moment right there. We had lost to Washington. We turned the ball over 4 times. Dallas Goedert went down with an injury. He's a phenomenal player. And we went to Indy and, Jalen led a drive to give us the lead 17-16. I think there was at the 2-minute warning, it was probably right coming out of the 2-minute warning. And so, it wasn't an overwhelming game for us. And we came back and we were playing Green Bay on a Monday night with Aaron Rodgers. And, we played phenomenal that week. Then Tennessee came in, physical run game, obviously physical football team. Coach Rabel does a great job with those guys. Played phenomenal in that game. Went to New York, played phenomenal that game. And so like that little stretch right there where we kind of had that lull at that part of the season, and then just how we responded to that, I thought showed so much about this team. In terms of Jalen, I mean, the guy played unbelievable from the day that we hit the practice field, during mini camps. And you saw that all the stuff that we talked about, or our coaches talked about with him, about taking to the next level, accuracy, anticipation, it all was taken to that next level. And, I think a lot of times we got to look at ourselves as guys who help run teams about what are we doing to give that guy the best opportunity. And so if you don't surround him with a great offensive line, if you don't have good skill guys to help him out, if you make it a one-man show, you just put so much on that guy's plate. That's a hard thing to do. And so, we got to take responsibility as well to make sure that we're doing the right things for our young quarterback here. And we wanted to make sure that whatever Jalen's potential was, we saw that. And the way to do that is to make sure he was surrounded by talent.
Howie, I've known you for such a long time. I'm so happy for your success.
No.
You're my guy. But we only talked about giving you flowers for putting this team together and Jalen Hurts. Let's talk about you picking these coaches. Well, for Doug Peterson now to Nick Sirianni, talk about that process of bringing in a hell of a coach like Nick Sirianni. And what was that process like?
Yeah, I'll tell you this, I feel very fortunate. Obviously, like Coach Reid, Coach Peterson, 2 Super Bowl champions, being a GM for those guys, guys I knew for a long time, phenomenal coaches, phenomenal people to work with. And that's a high bar. And, when we went out on this coaching search, we started a week later than everyone. And, we kind of said, hey, we're probably going to miss the first wave of the guys who are probably in the bag already with other teams, but let's just kind of act like we're the first search next year. And let's see who we think will be the hottest candidate next year based on their body of work and based on the interviews we do. And we had known Coach Sirianni just because Coach Reich had talked so highly of him. And I remember him telling me, the best coach I ever been around was Nick Sirianni. And when I get a job, he's going to be my first hire. And then it heard unbelievable things coming out of Indianapolis. But, it's like speed dating. And I don't know anything about that,
I know your wife very well now.
But, I think that when you do that, you're taking a risk, right? You're on like 2 dates and now we're getting married. And there's a little risk involved. And I'm going to tell you guys a funny story, and he's going to kill me if I tell you this. So I just look around, he's coming in my office or something. But the first week we're back in Philly and we're going through college stuff, and I walk in his office and he's got like a neck brace. And I'm like, you good? And he goes, yeah, I got like neck spasms. I'm like, he's like, I can't look this way or that way. And I remember going to my office and going, what the hell is he going to do when we're on a 5-game losing streak? He's got a freaking neck brace a week into the job. And he's like, and I told him that when we make the playoffs, I go, I was worried you had a freaking neck brace on. He goes, dude, I had a neck spasm. what'd you think? I was like, I didn't know. But I think for us with him, when we were 2-5 and he was consistent, and you guys know, being around great coaches, the consistency is what matters. And I know you know this. There's no one better in the world than Andy Reid about being consistent day after day. And man, I love that guy so much. But I think until you see like a guy go through it, especially in Philly, when everything's coming at you right and left hooks, you don't know. And when I saw that last year, I went, all right, we're going to be good. We're going to be good.
Howie, I got to ask you a straight up question, man, because you fleece a lot of dudes. You got Darius Slay for a 3rd and a 5th.
Give me that.
You got Chauncey Gardner-Johnson for a 7th.
Give me
and
that.
exchange of some picks.
No
When the deal, well, say it again. Get me straight.
Fifth, man.
When a deal goes through and you know you just got over on somebody, is there like a Howie smirk? Like, how are you feeling when you're like, did I really just do this?
Anytime we make a trade and someone says yes, I'm wondering if I'm getting screwed. I'm like, what are they doing here? Like, and I think that all of those were unique situations, right? Like Slay in that situation, Detroit, they weren't seeing eye to eye. And, the ironic thing is, like, we didn't know Slay that well. And all the reports coming out of Detroit, where I remember talking about it and going, I think this guy's a really good guy who loves football, but obviously you don't know till you live with him. And this guy was a captain for our team. He's our captain right now. This guy loves football. He loves being around his teammates. He's so selfless. Like, he's taking the rookies and he's freaking having his wife cooking him meals and stuff. And what a freaking great guy. And the same thing, Chauncey, I know him from Florida. And, you kind of just worry. You worry that you're hurting the team by doing too many moves. You worry about you're hurting the team by bringing in someone who doesn't fit with the kind of players you have and the personalities you have. And I think that we have such great leadership on this team, not only with our coaching staff, but man, we have guys that you all played with, and it's like, I can go to those guys and say, hey, this is what I think I know about this guy. Maybe can you do a little work? Or, hey, I'm going to take a chance, not necessarily on these two guys, but I'm going to take a chance on this personality. Are you guys good with it? There may be a little bit more responsibility. I may need you guys to have my back because I'm not in the locker room. But if he gets out of hand, and I'll go, it's not even going to get there, Howie, because we have such good guys in our locker room that they're influenced. Like, there's not a guy in our locker room that I worry about this week. I'm definitely going to have this rerun on Sunday after Sunday.
Hey, Howie,
that's what makes me proud.
Yeah.
Good guys.
We had Andy Reid, Big Red, on yesterday, and we know him so well. And he was talking about, oh, my God, the Eagles team is so great. I said, hold up, Coach. I know this trick. You love the other team up, to soften up a little bit so you go on there and destroy them. But how excited are you to playing Andy Reid in this championship game?
Yeah, it's funny because during media night, I just watched. I just wanted to see him. I haven't seen him for a minute here, and I wanted to see him. And then I just wanted to see how he would do with our players that we drafted together, Fletch, BG, and Kelce. And it freaking choked me up to think about, like, here's a guy who took a chance on me and was willing to take me as his GM, this Hall of Fame coach. And man, it's not like there's this like there's rivalry there. There's so much respect. And at the same time, we won't win this game bad. There's no doubt. Right. And I told Coach Sirianni, I go, there will be a lot of flowers thrown your way, Coach, but just know, I mean, he's coming for us. There's no doubt. But, that guy, I think of every time I see you, LeSean, like, I think about us and around Coach Reid, and just how much everyone loved him, and still does love him. And he's got that. But I also know how much his will to win, and how competitive he is and how much he wants to win. And on Sunday, I know that the first thing, remember when we played Cleveland like back to back. We played him like the last week of the preseason. Then we played him the first game of the season.
Is that when Joe Bannon went over there?
Oh, that was because I was in Cleveland.
Yeah. That was in 2000. That was in 2012.
2012.
And I remember he said, take the preseason game, say hello to your friends. Howie, say hello to Hecker. We got Pat Shermer over there.
Pat Shermer.
Done game day. So I know if I walk up to him on Sunday before the game and I go, "Hey, coach, how you doing?" He's going to give me like this little, like he's going to be all business as he should be. And there's so much respect that we have for him and his team and the run that they have. We have our work cut out for us as well. But I'm excited about our group of guys. I'm excited about the opportunity.
Quick hot seat question. Don't get mad at me, Acho. Top three, because we always talk about top 3 players or top 5 players. Top 3 GMs right now.
Ooh.
I can't do that.
Howie,
Those are my guys. Those are my guys. Those are my friends.
I got you one now.
Man.
Howie, I got 2 more for you. My first thought is this. You've done an incredible job, as we've already said. I think 6 All-Pros, 7 Pro Bowlers, some outland 8 Pro Bowlers, crazy number. But in the midst of how talented that team is, people tried to say, well, it's the team, it's not Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
What do you, Howie Roseman, the man who constructed the incredible team and also drafted Jalen Hurts, say to those who say it's the team, not Jalen Hurts?
I mean, we're 18-1 in his last 19 starts or some crazy stat like that. We've had different players in and out. I just don't know how anyone watches our games and doesn't think Jalen's a phenomenal player. Everything he does, and it's not just with his legs. He's a phenomenal passer. His deep ball accuracy, his completion percentage, every aspect of his game has gone to an elite level. And I think anyone who's saying that we're not in this position because of a lot of people, but led by Jalen Hurts, hasn't watched us all year.
Yeah. And I think about it finally, you've drafted Brandon Graham in 2010, Jason Kelce in 2011, Fletcher Cox in 2012, Lane Johnson in 2013. They are all still a part of the team. How do you get it right so often?
Well, I don't know that people in Philly would agree with that very much, but I think at the end of the day, those guys are as biggest part of the story as anything this week and this season. And those guys, they understand what it takes to not only win, but also how to play at a high level in a difficult football environment. And I know that when we bring a player into our O-line room or our D-line room, they are going to figure out what's right and what's wrong, what the standard is very quickly. And we have, Eagles Hall of Famers. I mean, with all due respect, Ach, we got another one on this call, as we both know, but I mean, that's an easy one. But I think when you think about that and the fact that our O-line and D-line are the engines of this team,
that's true. Yeah.
And, this D-line, I don't think our D-line gets enough credit. I mean, we're 5 sacks away from tying the all-time record from the 85 Bears who, it's funny. We were in Chicago and Richard Dent walked in the elevator and I joke all the time, we start talking about something, I'll go, I don't know if they're the 85 Bears, and then I'm freaking talking about the 85 Bears now. And that starts with a D-line, and that's led by Fletch and BG, And then this offensive line, I'll put this offensive line up against any offensive line, certainly in the league. And, I'm not so sure it doesn't go deeper than that. But at the end of the day, those guys are phenomenal, and they're led by those 4 guys. And those 4 guys are our captains. And, it makes me proud that those guys not only are still playing, but you're talking about it, Lane first team All-Pro, Kelce first team All-Pro, BG 12 freaking sacks.
12
BG,
sacks.
He's not a comeback player of the year candidate.
Sacks.
I don't know how that makes any sense coming off an Achilles. And then Fletch has 7 sacks and is still disruptive in the middle of the defense. And nobody even talks about Fletch, 7 sacks and everyone's saying the same thing Fletch has done. I don't know. I just watch tape every week and just see him dominate and run and pass. And so at the end of the day, those guys are our family. They're Eagles family here, and they take their roles seriously.
The gist of it for those watching was, Howie, you said, you're welcome.
Okay.
You said you're welcome.
Yeah, right.
Just talk about that moment. Talk about your emotions as we proceed to wrap.
Yeah, it's hard for me during games because you're just watching, and you got I got 4 kids and I feel like every one of these guys is like fingers on my hand. We picked them. You two too, and so when you're getting ready for a game and you're so excited for these guys for their opportunity and you want them to do so well. And so I probably shouldn't talk to people before games. Maybe I'll learn that lesson one day. But, our fans are passionate, and I get that. There's a high standard in Philly. And at the same time, I'm proud of what we've done here. You know, I'm proud of what we've done. My whole tenure here, my time as a GM, you know, we've made the playoffs 5 of the last 6 years. That's hard to do in the National Football League, you know, and we've made 2 Super Bowls. And, you know, I'm proud. I'm proud. And sometimes that gets the best of me. You know, I am who I am. And I probably would like that moment back, but.
I wouldn't like for you to have it back. Howie, lastly, why the heck didn't you draft me? I get it. You traded for me like in 2013, but I met with you, I met with Andy, I met with Castillo, and we were in the freaking combine meeting room. You asked me this question. I don't know if you remember it. You said, Acho, how many reps of 225 did you hit? I embellished a little bit. I said 25. Howie, you quickly said 24. They took one away from you. I just got to know. National audience, like, why didn't you draft the kid, Howie? Why didn't you draft me?
Yeah. You know what? We liked you. That's why we went on our college grade when we traded for you, you know, and we traded Pitt running back, you know, Dion. He's a heck of a player too. Yes, that's a story for another day. You know that.
Howie, you're the man. Dude, you had one final one, right?
About the running backs? I know this answer. He wants me to ask the question. Who's your favorite running back of all time for Philadelphia Eagles? He's going to say me. This is my guy.
I'll tell you what though, man. Like that's you know, if Deuce is on this call, he's gonna come for me. You know that.
And that's a big man.
Howie, you
Pete
are.
West, I got that. But listen, you know, I'll tell you a funny story. I'll tell you a funny story. Shady comes into our interview. You're gonna remember this. He comes in our interview room. We were so excited to freaking interview him, you know, and at the end of it, like I go to give him a hug, you know, and he like sneezes. I'm like, "You're right." He goes, "Man, I've had pneumonia like all week. Like I feel awful. I've been feeling awful."
Oh yeah, I was sick.
And I'll tell you what, you know, he doesn't know this, but we were talking between him and Mac at that first round pick. And because of what happened at the combine, because he didn't test it. He didn't test as well right there at the combine because he wasn't feeling good. And we spent the whole second round. I don't know if you know this. We spent the whole second round trying to trade up to get him and trying to get him. And finally, it just came to our pick. And that's one of those stories where it's like, you know, I remember he did that for us. Like he leaves the room and I'm like, why is he shaking my hand when he's freaking sick at the combine? You know? But I think him being sick at the combine allowed us to draft him. And the rest is history.
Yes, that's crazy because like, in Philadelphia, I tell people it's like teammates and fans. One thing I learned from being around guys like Howie, Andy Reid, Mr. Lurie, it's a real family. I've been removed from the Philadelphia Eagles for years, and we're still tight. You know, we text or talk from time to time. So that's one thing I want to thank you for, just making me feel like family. Appreciate that, Howie.
Like you are, and both of you guys do a heck of a job. I'll tell you, Ach, he called me like twice in a row, and when anyone calls me twice in a row who I care about, I think someone's like something's wrong, right? Yeah. And he called me twice in a row, and I'm like, "You good?" And he's like, "Yeah, man, I'm just checking on you, you know." And I'm like meeting with Nick, and Nick's like, "Who are you picking up the phone for right now?" When we're in the middle of the meeting, like preparing for the Super Bowl. I'm like, Shady needed me, man. And then I'm like, "Hold on, I'm gonna put you on FaceTime with Coach right here."
Okay, FaceTime.
Hey, Howie, a true testament to your character, because like Shady said, he hasn't been a part of the Eagles organization since 2015. I haven't been a part of the Eagles organization since 2015, but it's 2023, and we're all sitting right here on this call. So thank you for being the man you are.
On my hand, brothers. Can't wait. Hopefully I see you down here. Go Birds. We'll see you.
We'll be there tonight. We'll see you, Howie. Thanks so much.
Yep. It all kicks off Super Bowl Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern on Fox.
Subscribe here to get the latest from Speak, and go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.